Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you again. I'd like to welcome our president. At the back. No? Closer? All right. You told me not to get too close. So you can hear me now? Yeah. Right, I'd like to welcome you all to our, I think it's 153rd or something, or 154th annual general meeting. I'd like to welcome our president, Lord Michael Forsyth, and we have two vice presidents with us, Richard Havard and Mark Rudell, and all the SBA members, and of course our guests. The first thing I need to point out is where the fire exits are. In this room, the fire exit is in that corner. In the classroom, it is, as you go into the classroom, it is in the far right corner. And from the lounge area, it's to either come this way to one of those or to go down the stairs. Yeah. No, it's not in use, that one. No. No, I was assured, yeah. And also, could I ask, could people either switch off their phones or mute them, please? Because we don't really want them going off in the middle. I think that's all that I need to do on that. And I'd like to remind you that when it comes to questions, please, we do have some runners with mobile mics. So if you have a question at the end when asked for questions, please put up your hand and wait for somebody to come to you with a mic. They will keep an eye open and keep you in order of your hands going up. And please, if anybody's giving a talk, don't interrupt them. Wait till the end of the talk when questions are asked for. Right. Am I clicking or?
You can ask me to, I'll do that.
Right. Click, please.
1 second.
Right. It's just a quick reminder of what is the AGM. We'll have the apologies, in remembrance, scrutiny of minutes, matters arising, chairman's report, membership report, financial report, election of officers, resolutions 1 and 2, funnel report, and Steamboat Association. Right. And I'd ask the Honorary Secretary, please, if he has got the apologies.
Thank you, Dot. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, good. Good morning, all. I shall start with agenda item number 1. Apologies for instance today. Nigel Andrews, Trevor Barraclough, Richard and Jane Bartrop, Stephen Dilly Bill, Adrian Birtles, Sandra Brown, Mike Cole, Richard Cooksley, Nigel Cooper, Richard Cox, Paul Cummins, John Frampton, Brian Hillston, Andy and Lorna Hopper, Martin Marks, Phil Martino, Ned Minns, Richard Parker, John Puddy, Chris and Margaret Rolfe, Brian and Lynn Smith, and finally, Mike and Liz Bell. Now, they send their sincere apologies today. Mike is isolating at the moment, and he will be undergoing heart surgery on Monday. This is routine, so everything should be fine, but I'm sure you'll join me in wishing Mike a full and fast recovery. And that completes item 1 of the agenda. I'd now like to hand over to Mark Rudell for agenda item number 2.
Yes, this is a formal little part of our meeting. We have a number of members who, of course, who have died over the course of the year, and we like to honour their memory. And in a moment, I will get you to stand and we'll just have a minute of silence. We don't get all the names, actually. They're not always given to our membership secretary, who very faithfully notes them down. He writes to the widowed partners, and or I do. We keep in touch with them. But so I've just got 13 names here from the last year, but there may be others that you know of. And if that's the case, then you remember those names when indeed we get on our feet in a moment. Let's stand, shall we? Two from the Netherlands at first. We have J.W.A. Kroon, Kies van der Horst, and then from Cheltenham, Stuart Russell. And we have Ewart Baldwin from Frome, Derek Higton, Waterlooville. We have Hugh Mothersole from Colchester, Brian Davis, David Abrahams, then Ronald Kemp from Romford, Corey Luxmore. We don't have much information about him, but his name is very well known to many of us. Andrew Hall, who was one of the members of our society who, in fact, was very keen on hot air engines. So we have a group of those who are the Stirling engine members of the SBA. That's Andrew Hall, Douglas Taylor, and then Dave Howard, who sadly died in February. Let's just be quiet for a moment. We were privileged to know those members. May they rest in peace.
Right. Oh, okay. Now it comes to the scrutiny of the minutes. All the minutes have been published and you should have had a look at them. Is there any comments on, not matters arising, but comments on the accuracy of the minutes that need to be brought up? No, right, fine. Then can I have a proposer, please, that the minutes are passed? Who have you got? No. Yeah. No, we're not got that far yet. Yeah. Right. And can I have a seconder, please? Kevin. Right. And can we have the votes, account for the votes? And the two gentlemen who are counting the votes, please just check up. Those four. You can keep your hands up till they've sorted themselves out. Right. Against? And do I have any abstentions? One abstention, I think, yeah. Two. Can you put your hands up again for abstentions, please? Right. Three. Honorary Secretary, your minutes have been passed. Right. Yeah, till I get to it, yeah. This is the matters arising from the minutes. And that is things that will be not dealt with further on in the agenda. Are there any matters arising? Yeah. Yeah, you might as well, yeah.
Whether this is pertinent, I think it probably is. That obviously we had 3 resolutions last year. Resolution number 1 was to introduce the e-membership class, and resolution number 3 was to for new joiners to pay a proportionate amount depending upon which quarter of the year they joined in. That was passed at the AGM. That needed to go through to the full membership, which the poll was done, and that was also passed. So I just wanted to make that aware that those matters arose and have been dealt with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's you. There you go. I'll start it there.
Yeah,
Take
sure.
them out.
Yeah.
Not really. So you should better click through that.
Right. Firstly, I want to... Ooh, that's gone loud. Firstly, I'd like to welcome you again to this year's AGM and to our new venue here at the National Waterways Museum at Ellesmeter Port, and to thank the management here, especially John Lott, for all his assistance, because he set everything up for us. And if you'd seen this place a few weeks ago when Malcolm and I came, you would know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so now, Ron, right. Number 2, thank
Right,
you.
I'm going to click for you.
You are? Yeah. Right, we'll go now to a resume of all our activities of last year, starting with the most important, which was our events and our socials. In total, there were 19 events and socials last year. Those are the ones that were actually on the website, and I'm sure there were quite a few other little ones that weren't sort of published that happened. And round the pictures is just a selection of the various events. There were in total 19. Of these, the ones that were promoted on the website, interestingly, these are tending to diversify a bit this year. We're falling into 4 categories. There was those that were the boating events, which were purely just for the SBA. There were such as those, well, the only place was Windermere, really, where we had events that were just purely SBA members attending. Boating events where the SBA hold their own rally as part of it. These are things like the river festivals, the harbour festivals. The harbour festivals such as Dartmouth, Bristol, Fowl, Exeter. River festivals such as Evesham, Thames, the Thames Trad and Puffing Away. And then our attendance at heritage events such as Calstock and Steam at the Lift. Then we get to non-boating events, and these included, that I know of, 3 Christmas lunches, a visit to Steve Bill's Boatyard, and the McAlpine Foley Steam Day. There were training sessions and maintenance sessions, which involved keeping your feet dry. An interesting fact about keeping your feet dry, which is a training course we run on Windermere. There was 2 of our Australian members who were over in England, saw that the event was on, and they completely changed their whole holiday itinerary so that they could attend the Windermere event, which was very nice. And I know of a couple of that we're having, which were master boiler testing sessions, which does save a lot of time and money for the people if they can get together. A number of these events are already on the website again for this year, and they're well worth looking at. But there's always room for more, and especially I think the non-boating events. I think I don't actually know how many of the members actually own boats. I know of those that sort of have been to the events which I go to. And really, that's only a small proportion of the membership. And it would be nice to have events where everybody could go to, even if they're not having to vote. So things like more training days or visits. I know there's one planned this year, and I know there are various other things. Perhaps some Zoom sessions are planned. There are a few things. They're not on the website yet. But those sort of things, which the voting ones are nice, but it's getting a bit hard for quite a few of us now to sort of tow about the countryside and launch and that. But other events would be nice. So especially visitors. And so if you've any idea about anything that we could do or any visits that could be made, I think your first port of call is to get in touch with your area rep, and then they can have a look at it and pass on the message and see what is viable. Okay. Right. One of the other things where there's been a lot of development at the moment, last year, was by our safety, I'll start again, our safety information coordinator in Bucknell. He's done a tremendous amount of work updating the risk assessment, which is necessary for all our events. The main aim has been to develop a generic-based risk assessment that covers the basis of all events, but not necessarily are those pertinent to every event. For I know it covers locks on it. And of course, if you're on Windermere, there's no locks. But it also then gives room at the end for event organisers to add their own things which are necessary and peculiar to their own event. I can only talk of Windermere, whereas the buoy system there, the red buoys don't mark rocks. They have a whole lot of red buoys circling the rocks, which is not necessarily what happens elsewhere. And it's important that all SB, and the other thing is it minimises the paperwork for each individual organiser, and it also standardises the requirements across all our events. It's important to note that all SBA events should require a risk assessment, and if you're running a risk assessment, Ian Bucknell is the person to go to, because he will help you with running it through. In fact, I must thank him because he's done the whole of the one for this, for here. Now, specifically last year, he was working on the environmental issues, and to summarise the common sense and good practice that I know all of you follow when taking good care of our waterways. As you're aware, there's been a lot of coverage in the press with pollution of our waterways, and though I've said you're all very, very careful, it still needs to be seen, we still need to be seen as an organisation that is aware of the problems, and in skippers and organisers of the event, it is particularly important that they consider and are seen to consider appropriate ways to take care of the waterways on which we steam. Now, there's a whole list of those there. I don't propose to go through them all because some of them are very obvious. The two I would like to talk about is smoke and then invasive species. I'll deal with the invasive species first because that's something perhaps a lot of you are not really aware of and have not thought about. And it's the contamination between waterways by the transmission of species from one waterway to another. And really, and I was drilled into this when I first started pulling the Aurora off Windermere by a certain old gentleman who I think we all know who I'm talking about, up on the lakes, who made sure, because that Aurora's hull was washed when we brought it off Windermere. Then it went on, and then when it was brought off the next water, it was washed again before it went on. And things like that are in the risk assessment. Smoke. There's been quite an issue about smoke. And as those of you that are using coal will probably know what I'm talking about. And I must apologise. Oops, it's moving. I must apologise to the person who was running Shamrock at the time. He wasn't doing all boats, but that was a certain imported coal that was causing that problem. And I know that coal has caused a certain amount of problem for an heritage steam railway in Wales. It's safe to say that the question of coal is not just specific to us. It's across the whole of the heritage steam spectrum. You've got the traction engines, you've got the museums, which have got the machines running, you've got the traction engines, you've got the steamboats, etc. It's not just steamboats, it's an issue across the board. And this railway in Wales came under attack from residents of houses whose garden butted onto the railway line. And it was because of the extensive black smoke that coal from a certain country was causing. Now, I've put in my notes that hopefully I will be able to report back positively on this issue next year. But since I wrote this, I've been made aware. Lord Forsyth has given me a letter, and it was a letter to him from Peter Lord Henley of Richmond Hill, who is the Minister of State for Rail. They were apparently discussing the 200th anniversary of the Stockton and Darlington railway, and the issue of smoke and coal came up, and Lord Forsyth mentioned about steamboating. And I've got the whole of the letter here, which Lord Henley sent to Sir Michael, but I'm not going to read all of it, but there is part of it, the end bit, which I think will be of interest to everyone. It starts off, in parallel with this, well, it doesn't matter. Research and trial of substitutes for coal, often termed biocoal, is underway to see if a long-term carbon-friendly solution can be achieved. Biocoal holds promise, but there are issues to resolve on the combustion emissions, which may have an adverse effect on copper and steel boilers and on the amount of residue as char left in the firebox and on the fire tubes. I am interested in exploring ways coal might, in the shorter term, be sourced by recovery from existing UK tips, and I propose exploring this with ministerial colleagues at the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, who oversees the Steam Heritage section. I will keep you informed of the process. So things are starting to happen, and I thank you for passing that message on to me. Right. Now, as a lot of you are aware, we've got some major administrative issues with the website. I've not got that far yet. Thank you. I'm still on the first bit. Our current provider at the moment is Wild Apricot. And there are two major developments, and there's been two major developments so far on the website. As many of you has realised, realised and brought to our attention that certain aspects of it are not functioning properly, not functioning at all, and it is certainly not user-friendly. This is because, as I understand, is that over the years, because of a variety of administrators, various parts have become corrupted and the whole system is in need of a complete overhaul. At the last committee meeting, it was decided that assistance was needed to do this and to enlist and pay for professional help from a Wild Apricot consultant who will work alongside our IT person doing the work. They won't do it for them. The idea is that they advise on how we can rectify and sort our own system out. Yeah. Once this has been done and the system's functioning properly, then we can sort of address the other issues, such as the appearance of the whole website, things like the writing on the blue background, which is certainly, for anybody with any visual problems, not very user-friendly. Things like that. But the first things to be done is to get the system working properly. It has been suggested that we should perhaps change our provider, and Kevin has kindly sussed out 2 possible providers, but that is on hold. While Apricot is functioning properly, it is not really possible to assess what advantages another provider would have over it. And the other thing is now, which is going on, is a complete rewriting of the steam. Oh, this is going to be fun because I've got to look at rewriting of the Steamboat Register to bring it up to date and be more user friendly. Let's have a look at this. And apologise if I make a mess of this. I didn't actually write this bit. It's been done for me. All right. During the past year, our IT team, specifically Ian Davis and Roger Calvert, I'm struggling here. Can you still hear me at the back? Yeah. I've been working on a replacement for the Steamboat Register, which has become obsolete. The new development register is accessible within our website, and they encourage all members to visit this, trial it, and provide feedback. To enter the development register, log into our website and hover the cursor across the main menu, Steamboats, and then click on New Register under Development. And that's the page you will get. And it's indicated there, the darker band is where you should be looking. This will open the welcome page, and it's useful to read the whole page before clicking on the link in the first paragraph, which takes you to the register. And that is a copy of the register. I don't propose to go through it all with you, but that's the page that should come up. By clicking on a couple of obvious buttons, you will end up at your desired boat's entry. There is a lot of functionality in this new register, so please spend some time and access all areas and test some edits. The help page contains useful information. If you want to make a new entry into the register, you need to click on the top right login link and follow instructions. Be assured this is a copy of the current register, so you will not corrupt any of the live data. And this is what the page you want. And we'll go to the next one now, please. Finally, and importantly, please go back to this first screen, the welcome page. On the final paragraph, there is a link to the email address, Register Update, where you can pass your views to the development team. They will be grateful for your comments and good, whatever it was. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that back to that page. I'm sure you'll agree the new register looks impressive and will be an improvement on the existing one. Roger Calvert is with us today, and he will be happy to have a chat, but not during this meeting. If you will see him, catch up with him around lunchtime, and if you want to have a chat about it, then see him at lunchtime. Right. Ongoing is the promoting this Steamboat Association to the wider public. Some of you have seen, we have put some banners and things up around the place. Big banner. We've got one of the big white ones. I don't know if you see it. Yeah. Besides some pop-up ones and that. Right. Present display material is in there with various rally organisers for them to use at their rally. They have sort of got together a promotional plaque and at the events, and in such locations such as museums and heritage centres. I know the Windermere Jetty Museum is going very well. They've got our posters up and they've got our leaflets in, which they are getting rid of at quite a good rate of knots. Whether we're getting any members from it, I don't know, but they are helping there and they are using them. And there's a few other places. What we could do with is a number of places where these can be put, various heritage railways and things like that, all sorts of things. There's a lot of museums where it can put. And if anybody's have any suggestions to me where they think information could be put out, please come and see me and I'll make a list and we'll sort out getting the information to you. There's temporary displays at steamboat associated events, such as heritage steam gatherings. And I think the picture at the top was showing the banner, and that was at the Forley McAlpine, thank you, Forley McAlpine something. The middle one was from, Daniel had put that up when it was, I think, which one was it, Daniel? Acton Bridge, yeah, Acton Bridge. And the bottom one was at the Fruitport or the Cumbrian Steam Gathering. And I do know that a couple of people have been taking stuff to various other events as well. Yeah. This year it's proposed and getting together to put a written article about steamboating into the various magazines. And that is what the development this year is. But of course, we do want to go and expand on the previous ones because there's something that's ongoing. It can be developed on year after year until we've got a good system working out. Right. And now we're coming to a plea for help. Committee members, which we'll be going on to. We've had some committee members standing down. I know I'm not going through in the list in the order. Committee members that have stood down, and we have got more committee members, people proposed to stand for the committee than what we've lost for a good year, which is good, but we have still got plenty of places. It's to remember that all the committee are volunteers and they're working, they do work very hard to run this organisation, but there's only much that a set of number of people can do. The committee is elected by you, the members, to manage the organisation for your benefit. And what better way to ensure that this is to ensure this than to either put yourself forward as a committee member or propose someone who you think will best do this on your behalf. The committee members can only do a certain amount. Yeah. So anybody, we can co-opt you on to during the year. You don't have to be voted on here. If any of you are interested or you know somebody who you want to volunteer somebody, come and see either Mark or myself during today. Next to a bit of a sad thing, after a number of years, our honorary membership secretary, Roger Powell, is retiring, and we are looking for someone to take over. This post is a very important role, and as it deals with membership payments, processing new members, and keeping the membership register up to date, and I am sure other things that I am totally unaware of, most of this, once the kinks in wild apricot are sorted out, will happen automatically, I think. And of course, you will not be thrown in at the deep end. Roger would be always there to mentor throughout your first year. If you feel you might be interested, have a word with Roger Powell, see what it is actually involved at lunchtime, please. And I'd like to formally here thank Roger for all the work he has done over the previous years. They want you to stand up so they know who you were. You'll be stood up in a minute anyway. Those above necessitate becoming a committee member, but there are many supportive roles where committee membership is not a requisite. For example, all the area reps where we are now, where we're now beginning to get quite a strong team together. We're managing to fill all the area rep posts that have remained vacant, and people are getting quite promising and are helping to arrange activities. One of these other events posts that needs to be done is the events coordinator. This basically position is to oversee the organisation of various events and assist the individual event organisers as required, and of course the very important task of organising all our trophies, which are at the back. Again, if anyone's interested, either see Mark or myself, and we'll have a chat with you to say, basically, it's something that you can develop yourself into what role you really think could be done with it. It's open for opportunities for somebody to show. Okay. Right. I'd like to, but before I finish now, I'd just like to mention two organisations, stimulation services, which a number of you have already probably know, but then we have the lesser known Heritage Steamboat Trust. These associations work independent of, but alongside the SBA, and neither of them are actually answerable to the SBA. The SBA Services Limited, I will not mention too much about, as Malcolm Duckett will be talking about this just before lunch. Suffice to say, the SBA Services Limited is a non-for-profit company set up to provide services established by the SBA in 1991. Today, SBA Services Limited, aka the SBAS, provide a range of services used by many boaters and other steaming people, acting among other things as facilitators, re-boiler inspections, by putting people in contact with qualified boiler inspectors. And they also have a drawings and pattern library. The Steamboat Heritage, and these are the actual objectives of the Steamboat Heritage Trust. The restoration, preservation, and operation, where practical, of all forms of small historic steamcraft, to show to the public the historic evolution and development of the first uses of mechanical power in small boats. Yeah. The preservation of books, drawings, records, photos, films, and the artifacts relating to steamboats. The training in the traditional skills required for boat building, maintaining, and operating small steam-powered vessels. These objectives to be achieved by raising funds and to assist, cooperate with, or provide grants or loans to any charitable organisation with aims compatible with these objects. And I know one thing, way back in 2010, when Shamrock got really damaged, that was before the Shamrock Test, before the Shamrock Trust was formed, they assisted in helping Roger Mallinson raise funds to get Shamrock up and running and repaired. And it was after that, to help Roger, that the Shamrock Trust did become part. Anyway, the HST are in need of people. They are very light on number, and they are in need of people to help with this important work. And any interested should either contact Brian Smith or Richard, your part. Yeah, or Richard Havard over there, or myself, but more Richard Havard. I've only just recently gone onto the committee. So on that thing. And finally, all that remains now is for me to thank you once again for attending and hope that you enjoy the remainder of the day, and to remind you that the blue wristbands you obtained when you checked in at the main museum entrance will entitle you to free entry to the museum tomorrow. And somebody's told me they have a model boat due on tomorrow, apparently. That's it. Right, thank you. Yeah. Are there any questions, or anybody want to ask any questions? No, there's nobody. Nobody's got their hand up. No. Oh, good. Thank you. Right. I'll now ask our retiring membership secretary, Roger Powell, if he will come. No, I am there, aren't I? Yeah. Yeah. If he will come and, yes, it's all right. Come and do his report. Sorry about that, Roger.
Go. You can probably click your mouse and it will move forward, or you can say click and I'll move it forward.
I'll say click.
It's the easiest
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. As you already know, Roger Powell, Membership Secretary. I think I took over 2019, 2020, whenever Kevin was around. This is my report for the year. Click. Right. The membership currently stands at 727 members, of which 651 are active. In other words, they've paid their subscriptions and they're fully signed up. I'll go into the balance later on. The breakdown in the categories is as follows. Boiler test engineers who are automatically registered as members so that they get updated funnels and what have you. There are 14 of those currently on the system. Complementary members, there are 13, all active. Honorary members, 6, again, all active. E-members, this is the new category. We currently have 46 members. The majority of those have requested to go onto it. But also this year, the members that underpaid their full subscription, I moved them across onto e-membership. So we held them in membership rather than lapsing them and making them inactive. So it's a reasonably good figure. Interestingly enough, some of the reasons people have said that they want to go on to e-membership, and one really did catch my eye, and that was a member who was in his 90s and explained that he was happy to pay the full membership, but he would like e-membership activity because he could blow up Funnel on his laptop or his computer and make it easier to read rather than trying to read the small print actually within Funnel. Quite an interesting little point made, especially when you look at us lot sort of heading in that general direction at a rate of knots. UK members, there are 471, of which 433 are active, and worldwide members, 177, of which 139 are inactive. Are active. That figure is actually updating slowly. Various members have crept in since I did the figures. Click. During 24-25, 22 members actually contacted me requesting that their membership be terminated. The majority of those were stating either age or change of interest. The vast majority was age. And I've actually got on my list 10 deaths reported to me. I think, Mark, you added another one. Yeah. So that's the scene as we go. Okay. What does all this mean? It means that on the 31st of March 2025, we had 75 members who are inactive. The main may be removed from membership This is actually at the discretion of the committee. So at the next committee meeting, you will have to, or the members of the committee will have to make a decision on whether they remove them or leave them in a lapsed state on the system. The main reason for that, as I've said already, is underpayment or no payment of subscriptions. Constitutional issues. As already been mentioned, at the last AGM, we agreed that new members should only pay subscription for the remaining quarters of the year in which they join. This has proved to be a manual task for the treasurer. I thought it was simple, and it is anything but. Wild Apricot, our membership operating system, which you've heard about already, the system can automate this, but only if it's based on the month of joining, not the quarter. So you'll see that when we come to the vote on the constitutional issues, there is a proposal to this effect. In other words, you join in the months, you get charged the residual months remaining of that year. And then Wild Apricot will do it automatically for us all. Looking towards the future, for the first time, it's my sad duty to report that we have no junior members. Dan, you grew up. I fear part of the reason for this is our website. Whilst the current site is extremely familiar to us older members, it's not welcoming the younger and potentially new members. Exactly. Next. In my opinion, our website needs a major update, as already been mentioned, to bring it into the modern age of smartphones and other portable devices used by the younger generation. Okay. And finally, the method of subscription payment. In my management of the membership system, we've focused on using direct debits as the preferred method of payment, mainly due to the issues we had with PayPal when I first joined, and the outdated standing orders that no one updated to new membership rates and subscriptions. I'm pleased to report that we have 387 members now signed up on direct debit, which has made the life of the membership secretary a lot easier than it was when I first joined. However, in recent times, we appear to have resolved our issues with PayPal. It's working well with our overseas members now. So I would put forward the proposal that, in fact, we relook at our payment methods, bringing things like PayPal, Google Pay, and all those other issues that have come up that are much more used on portable devices like smartphones. We need to get that into the system so that we can collect money much more easily. As you're aware, I've decided to stand down and won't be up for re-election this year. I would like to take this opportunity to thank both the past committee members and the current members for all their support. And as has already been said, I'm more than willing to assist and support the incoming membership secretary in the role and handing over the life. Okay. And that was me done. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Right. Oh, sorry. Are there any questions? There are no questions, so I'll sit down.
Now, I'd ask Mark Leaderham for the financial report.
Good afternoon. Once again, this is slide number 1. I'll try to keep this brief as possible. We are running a bit tight for time now. But if anybody wants to stretch their legs, now is the time to do so. Just to remind you that our accounting year runs from the 1st of January until the 31st of December. As in past reports, I'll take you through, I'll do my best to take you through the finances of the events, then summarise the store, the SBA store, work through our other income and expenditure sources, and end with the balance sheet. So it's pretty dry stuff. I apologise, there are quite a lot of slides, each feeding into the next, but all the figures won't be legible on one slide, so I'll have to break these into sections. Okay, slide number 2, please. This one is the income let me read. Here we look at the events whose monies went through our bank accounts. This slide does not include the AGM. Yeah. On the left, there is the event name, five in 2024 plus a donation. Then there are 3 columns: receipts, money in; payments, money out; and the result, surplus or deficit. For 2023, on the right hand side, you'll see I'm just showing the result. It should be noted that the receipts are gross and do not include PayPal fees, where the member has paid using that provider. So a quick drawn down the figures shows each event has covered its costs. Third parties can charge the SBA for the use of their facilities, which we must factor into our event fees. Where we are not invoiced, we end up with an unexpected surplus. Keeping your feet dry being one such event. Oops. The totals at the bottom will be carried forward to the next slide. Here we have the AGM. Of note is the deficit of £2,007 for 2024. The primary reason was the employment of professionals to provide the audio visuals, including a stream to our Zoom account. This item cost £1,600 and very few members observed from home. Bringing totals from the previous event slide, we get the grand totals for all events and we carry forward the surplus, deficit to slide number 5. Slide number 4 next, please. This is slide number 4, dealing with store sales. In 2024, we offered for sale the Strath Steambook, so this is included here. I don't propose to do the maths here, but you'll see the surplus being carried forward to the next slide, slide 5, in 2024 was £244. Slide 5, please. This is slide 5, which is where I add up all the various incomes. Comparing 2024 with 2023, you'll see a reduction of subscription and funnel advertisement income. As mentioned at the last AGM, I've opened some interest-bearing bank accounts. The bank interest of £766 is what has been paid to us, not what has been accrued. The downside to receiving interest is that it's reportable to HMRC, who will charge corporate tax against this. The second section of this slide shows the totals and those brought forward from previous slides. Then we carry the summations forward to slide number 8. The next slide is slide 6. Slide 6 is here, and you will now appreciate why I urge you to get some fresh air at the beginning. Here we deal with the first slide under expenditure. There's not a great difference between the 2 years. A smaller committee and not every member claiming expenses has reduced this item. Some new promotional materials to take to the events have increased our expenditure in that department. Slide 7. Slide 7, which just deals with the stock written off in 2023 and summarises the total annual expenditures, which are carried forward to the next slide. Slide 8. Slide 8 brings us to the end of the income and expenditure account. The summations of the previous slides are brought forward to give us the total surplus for each year, which of course are, repeat after me, carried forward. Slide number 9, which will be this one. Now we turn to the balance sheet. So we're getting there. This is slide 9, and the next one quantifies our current assets. We have no assigned value in our stock, and our bank balances have increased from £22,000 to £31,000. Next slide. Slide number 10, we deal with the debtors and prepayments. Of note here is that in 2023, we took a 2-year subscription for our IT system, Wild Apricot. These total current assets are carried forward to slide 12. Slide 11. This is slide 11. We're nearly there, so you can start waking up now. Yeah. These represent our liabilities, which are payments we have received in the year prior to their expenditure, namely annual membership subscriptions. And in 2024, we received £1,198 of income for this AGM, where indeed I have the pleasure of addressing you. These totals are carried forward. Slide 12. And this is slide number 12, where all the previous summations are incorporated to tell us whether I should resign. Once again, I'm trying not to explain the individual items here, but note that I had an error of 61 pence for 2023, and I have an error of 64 pence for 2024. That's where this comes from. For additional comment, the reserves brought forward into 2023 were £14,934. So just to clarify, reserves on 1st of January 2023 were £14,934. Reserves, reserves on 1st of January 2024 had increased from 14,934 to 21,883 pounds. Reserves on the 1st of January 2025 were 28,104 pounds. Now, all this assumes I've not made a complete mess of the accounts. Finally, I would like to thank my ever helpful and becoming wife, Jo, and of course, Nigel Thompson, who has undertaken the arduous task of scrutinising these accounts. And whilst I'm here, I'd also like to thank Malcolm Duckett for the help he continues to provide me, and of course, Roger Powell, whom I shall miss working with on the membership matters. If I'm re-elected as Treasurer, I will be proposing Nigel to continue to scrutinise, or to be the scrutineer for 2025. And slide number 13 is for me to thank you for bearing with me. I don't enjoy public speaking, so I apologise if this is difficult to follow. And finally, have you any questions? Roger.
You are. Mark, well done presenting that in a very clear way. Can I take you back to slide number 10, I think?
You can try.
What's the confidence on the loan SBS?
That will be...
I'll talk about that when I get to the SBS report. But...
Okay, should we kick the ball into somebody else's court?
Yes, although...
Chairman might mention.
do you want the mic? Roger, to answer your question, I'm very confident. Has anybody any further questions?
I think you should be congratulated on a tremendous job. I don't know if people really understand what he goes through to get these figures onto that board. He does a tremendous job, and I think he should be really applauded.
Thank you, John.
Right. Please can I have a proposer that the accounts for Mark's accounts for 2024 be adopted. Oh. Right, Mark. I can say this one's mine.
Lots of lists is like that. You know.
Please can I have a seconder? Roger Calvert is first stand up. Roger Calvert. Can we take the vote, please? All those in favour? For? No, Mark, you don't vote for your own town.
Anonymous, yes. Voting with me, anonymous.
Against? Abstentions? No. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Right. Honourary Treasurer, your accounts have been adopted. Next one. Oh, Nigel Thompson is prepared to offer his services again as scrutineer for 2025. Mark, are you proposing? Mark has proposed. Please can I have a seconder? I'll second that. Right. Can we take the vote, please? For? Against? Abstentions? Right. Hand over now. Oh, yeah. Nigel, you have been accepted as scrutinizer for next. Right. Yeah. And pardon?
Have you got a
No, you have to ask for one. Let's have a look.
You probably do.
Yeah, Mark Leaderham and then Richard Havard.
Okay, it's my pleasure as your president to take the chair for the election of the chair. There's only one candidate, and that is Dot Bulow, who's been proposed by Mark Leadenham and seconded by Richard Harvard. And what an excellent candidate she is. Those in favour? Can't believe anyone's against, and no abstentions. So I declare Dot elected. And can I just say briefly that I'd like to nominate your honorary treasurer for the job of Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Oh, thank you very much for that. I don't know if I'm happy or not, but never mind. Right. Well, next is to appoint the Honorary Treasurer and the Honorary Secretary. Now, as we're pressing for time, and Mark is the only candidate for both offices, I propose that we just do it as one vote. So, I don't think we got enough. No. No, it's unfortunate. Can I have a proposer for Mark? Roger Powell. Seconder, John Wynne. Votes for. Against? Abstentions? No. Right. Congratulations, Mark. You've got the jobs. As you know, our honorary membership secretary has stepped down, and I'd like to reiterate thanks for all the work that he has done. And if, as I said, if anyone's interested to see me at lunchtime, and again, I'd like just to thank Roger for all his work. Now we come to committee members. Richard Cooksley and Paul Cummins have stepped down. Kevin Slater, Helen Steeple and Mike Cole are eligible and willing to continue if re-elected. And we have 3 new nominations. Trevor Barraclough, who is unfortunately unable to be with us today. Oh, he's here. He's arrived. Stand up, please. You can cross him off your apologies. Yeah. Trevor is a relative new member, but he very much impressed the committee when he was invited to attend us at the last meeting, when he attended as an observer, and he did take part. We were very pleased. So, do we have... No, I've got to... So, the proposer is for Trevor. No, we'll get that back. It's all right. I'll put my brain back into gear. John Emmett, who you know of, and he's currently the local area rep. And Richard Cox. Richard Cox is from the Anglian area, and he feels strongly that the area should be represented. And I'm afraid that's all I can't, and he is not with us today. John Emmett is, though. For those, yeah, John, just stand up for those, okay, who don't know him. Right. We'll just take the voting. As Kevin, Helen and Mike are for re-election, and we've not got any online voting, they can be voted for together. So can I have a proposal that 3 of them continue, or have we got, no, we haven't. No. Yeah. Re-election. Kevin, Helen and Mike, re-election. Can I have a proposer, please? What's his name? Ian. Sorry, Ian. My brain's going. Ian Bucknell. Seconder, Bert. Glambersink. Right. 4. Against? Abstain? No. Right. Well, the one of you that's here at the moment has been re-elected. Mike Hall has unfortunately had an emergency. Oh, you're still here, are you, Mike? You're back. Oh. Yeah. I didn't.
Any nominations need to be received within
Yeah.
7 days prior.
Any nominations had to be received within 7 days prior. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll sort that out after. Yeah. Right. Next, Trevor Barracoff, proposed by Kevin Slater and seconded by Roger Powell. 4. We have to take these individually as they are new members. The others had previously been elected in and accepted, but these are new members, so we have to do them separate. Oh, you put my hand up there. Against? Abstain? No, thank you. Right, Trevor, you're with us. John Emmett, proposed by myself, Dr. Buller, and seconded by Brian Smith. 4. Against? Abstain? Right, John, you're with us. Richard Cox, proposed by Mark Leaderham and seconded by, can you? Right, there you I know. I'm sorry, I was going to attempt that one. Yeah. 4. Against? Abstain? Right. So the 3 of those 3 are now officially members. Again, if there are anybody else who would like to join us, just see me, Aspen. So that concludes the election of the officers. We will now go on to the resolutions. Resolution 1. Yeah. The committee proposes the following resolution, which has to be voted on. Right. Okay. The first thing I must say that these changes are required for administrative purposes only and do not pose any major change to the Constitution. If there are, however, changes to the body of the Constitution, it is necessary for them to be first passed by the members attending the AGM, followed by the proposal being put to and voted on by all the membership. So once it's passed here, it will then go out to the general membership for voting. The first resolution came about because of a concern that attendance in person at AGMs in the future is likely to decline. And the second resolution, that the pro rata payment for membership passed last year be changed to a monthly pro rata system. And that is because when we started investigating wild apricots and to see get it functioning properly, they found out that the monthly pro rata system was already in there, whereas they had it do automatically before. So it was made obvious sense to accept what was on the system. Right. I propose, Dr. Buller, that Resolution 1, that Article 7, Paragraph 5 be amended to read 40 members or 5% of the UK membership, whichever is the higher figure, shall constitute a quorum at a general meeting. Can I have a seconder, please? Richard Havard. 4. Against? Abstentions? No. Right. One's abstention. Right.
It was 16, it's been reduced to 40.
Right. Yeah, it was 60. Yeah. And you've gone down to 40 now. Yeah. Right. The resolution 1 has been passed. And Mark, will you make arrangements for the vote to go out to the whole membership, please? Yeah. Resolution 2. I propose that resolution 2, that paragraph 2 of Article 6 be amended to all subscriptions shall become due on the 1st of January each year, and members joining after that date shall pay an first monthly proportion of the annual subscription for that year, ending on the 31st of December. This will be counted as the number of complete calendar months remaining and include the month of joining, and will be divided by 12. The resultant figure will be multiplied by the respective annual subscriptions fee to establish the pro rata amount. And I think, yes, and I don't propose to go all through that with you. Yeah. Because I would have thought there was a much simpler way of doing it. Right. This seemingly complicated amendment from quarterly first-year fees is proposed due to the nature of processing this within the SBA wild apricot system. So I propose that this resolution be accepted. Oh, is there any comments? No, yeah.
I would just comment that the express
Yeah. Yeah, but the fact is the system will do it for us automatically. So, yeah. Yeah, the back, Daniel. Wait, we need it for the mic, for the...
Your online community, Daniel.
To avoid doing it again next year, we could just have it pro rata without stating monthly or quarterly.
The system, we wouldn't need to do it again once it's been put in place, this. I'm sorry, Daniel, I'm not sure where you're coming from there. It's quite simple. If you start in January, you pay the full rate for 12 months. If you start in February, you pay for 11 months. If you start in March, you pay for 10 months and so on.
It actually helps by saying it's monthly rather than having a query, is it by day or by lunar month or by calendar month, etc.
Right. Thank you, Richard Aber. However it's worded, we all know what it means. Right, 4. You can have the votes for, please.
33.
Against? Abstentions? 1. Honorary Secretary, the resolution has been passed. So again, will you make sure for the membership, the full vote to go to the membership? Thank you. Right. Next thing, funnel report.
There you go.
Please.
So, you have to talk amongst yourself on Friday because it's been difficult today. It's here. I've just got to get it on your screen.
Good afternoon. Do I need to raise this microphone? Good afternoon. There's been an awful lot of talk about Anno Domini and how the fact we're all getting older. Unfortunately, I joined the Seriously Old group last week, and I'm really upset that nobody's actually challenged me as to where my beard has gone. But it's coming back as fast as I can possibly make it. That was the intention. Not sure it's achieved it. I was waiting for the technology to catch up with me, Dot.
Do you want to do your clipping or shall I do it for you?
Yeah, if the clipper will work, I will happily do it.
Move it about too much. You're on that page.
Right. Well, we've managed to achieve another 4 editions, and I thank you all for your help with that. The main thing I want to say today, well, I also want to say thank you for your feedback and your input, and it really does make the job that little bit easier when people say, oh, thank you, Kevin, I really liked your article on in such and such funnel, or the new funnel is great, and so on and so forth. Because of the way the funnel has evolved, many years ago, and I think Roger would know that we went to Hobbs to do the printing of funnel. And very recently I went for a visit to see them to discuss a few technical issues, and it was very useful for me to do that. This is what funnel looks like to me when I've created it in my software, InDesign, wonderful software, love it. 96 pages there. And then when it goes to Hobbs, they have some fancy software that turns it all around. I have clicked. Oh, sorry. I've got to do 2 clicks. Technology, you love it. So this software takes all those 96 pages, puts them together into these A2 sized pieces. That's one side, that's the other side. And then it takes those and puts 2 of them together and makes sections. And so you've got 32 pages in a section, 4 sections, 96 pages for the entire magazine. Now, nobody has challenged me yet, and that's with all of you here, and I'm sure you've all read the latest funnel from cover to cover, and nobody has come to me with any explanations for this photograph and where it came from. Well, I have to say that during the process of putting the funnel together, usually a photograph jumps out at me and I go cover or rear cover. Unfortunately, partly because I was abroad for most of January and partly because I had to get this funnel to the printers so that it was all on your doormats 21 days before the AGM and so forth, I just didn't, no photograph jumped out at me. And so I went to ChatGPT. I said, I want a British or English steamboat on an English river in the springtime. And that's what they came up with. Unbelievable, unbelievable. So moving swiftly along, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for the magazine, putting the magazine together, because I couldn't do it without you. It's your magazine. I'm just there to facilitate it. So please, if any of you are thinking, well, I might sort of write this bit up and send it to Kevin, be it an event, be it something you're doing in your workshop, doing an event, whatever, please do. And as I've said many times before, don't worry about that bit. I can deal with the mistakes and the punctuation. And yes, I have a very good proofreader as well. And yes, my thoughts about climbing the staircase every time I go, 96 pages. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's gone up. Yeah. Next to that, finally, that's Malcolm Duckett, who is going to give a talk or some explanation about the Steamboat Association service. Well, give the Steamboat Association services report. And then we're aware it's getting dinner time.
I can't be there and here.
All right.
So, hey, hopefully you can hear me there. They said, you've got to do this in 30 minutes. And so I arranged a presentation that takes 17. And I think they then ate all that time up. So I'm Malcolm Duckett. I'm the company secretary and treasurer of the SBA Services Limited. And really today, I just want to remind you what SBAS is and what it is not, to discuss the services we offer, to provide a report on operations for 24-25, because we finish our year at the end of January, and to give you opportunity to ask some questions. So a bit of background first of all. Lots of people keep forgetting this, but SBA Services Limited, also known as SBAS, is not part or owned by the SBA. It was set up at the request of the SBA 31 years ago. And it was set up as a listed company. It's registered at Companies House, and it's registered as a company without share capital. Today, you'd probably call it a community business or that kind of thing. Those things didn't exist at that time. It's a not-for-profit organization. We've got no way of disposing with any money we make. We can't give it to ourselves. We can't give it to anybody else. The only thing we could do was to wrap it up and give it to a steamboating charity if the SBA has disappeared, or we can give it back to the SBA if they still exist. But that's the only way we can get money out. Nobody's paid as a company member or director, and I haven't seen any expenses in the 3 years I've been doing the treasuryship. So it's very economically run. It was set up that way to ensure that neither you as members nor the SBA committee could in any way become liable for anything going wrong. So if one of our inspectors managed to blow up your boat and a large quantity of people, it's not your problem. So a bit of background number two, SBS role is principally to organise border inspections and testing. We also offer a range of other services, and I'll talk about those. These services are sold, and these other services are sold to reduce the cost of testing. Because we can't get rid of our money anyway, if we sell something like castings or drawings downstairs, those funds go back into the company, and all they do is to offset our cost of insurance, which means we can reduce our boiler testing fees. So as you'll see, we run it very close to not profit. So anything you buy from us, you can think of it as making a donation to your fellow steamboaters because you're reducing the cost of their boiler tests, if you feel that generous. As we're not profit, so the sale through that, that's what I just said. We have a lot of, almost totally, our expenses are insurance. We have public and professional liability to protect our inspectors and customers and third parties. We have employers' liability. We don't employ anybody, but the government requires you to have employers' liability. We have management liability so that if the directors do anything stupid, then somebody might try and bail us out. The company is managed by a team which includes 3 directors. So Nigel Thompson, stand up Nigel, chairman and director. Chris Davis, stand up Chris. There you go, tall person at the back, is scheme administrator and director. John Maltby is librarian and part of the management team. Mr. Maltby, he'll have fallen asleep. No, it's done a runner. Bill Hall, who's on the management team. Ian Coop, who is here, Ian. Very experienced boiler tester in all sorts of fields, and a Waverley man. Chris Drake, who isn't here today, I don't think. Oh, there it is. You've been very quiet. So Mr. Drake is here at the back, and myself, who you can usually find on my hind legs talking. Other members of the company are the people currently holding various roles in the SBA. So, as I think I said on the previous slide, the company has members who are members, and they take the place of shareholders that we don't have, and they have directors. The other members, aside from those I mentioned above, are the person who is currently chairman of the SBA, so at the moment it's Dot, the person who is treasurer, so currently it's Mark, the person who's membership secretary, who we don't know yet, and it's the secretary. So that group of people wind up running the SBAS. Services. We offer services in 4 areas. Services related to the manufacture of steam boilers, services related to the operation of steam boilers, and then a library that has boiler designs, hull designs, which have been donated to the SBA by various people and members and others. And we can also supply castings for the manufacture of boats, engines, that sort of stuff. And again, these are from patents that have been donated to the SBAS by members and other people. So if we first of all talk about the sort of boiler side, then the design services are the first place. Steam boilers hold an immense amount of energy, so they need to be safe. And that means that they have to be built to a design which is able to stand the stress of the boiler. In order for a boiler to be inspected by us, or pretty much anybody else, it needs to have been built to an approved design, with a professional design engineer having approved the plans as being safe for its stated use. Our boiler and pressure system design assessment service allows you to take a design that's never been seen before, run it through that service, and at the other end you'll have had a professional engineer inspect and certify that design as fit for use. Now, we can do that for new designs, so if you've got a whole new type of boiler you want to build, then you can set up a set of designs and then buy that service from us and we'll certify it for you, assuming it's good. Or our library, more of which we'll talk about in a minute, has 15 existing designs that are already certified and ready for use. Some of these designs are weldless ones, so you don't even need welders or professionals to build the boilers. Several of us here have built boilers. Nigel and I built 3 Arrows for various people. Chris, I know, has built one for his own boat, and others as well. So the designs include things you can build at home, providing you're, competent home engineer. The second stage is, once you've got a design, you need to get it built. And when you're having a new boiler made, you need to know that it's been built to that design, that it was built with approved materials, because the actual steel plate needs to be properly certified, and you need to know that. And that the manufacturing processes have been properly applied. So, they weren't necessarily using an 8-inch angle grinder where they should have been using a 4-inch one. And our construction surveillance service provides that check for you. So normally the manufacturer will employ us to do this, but you could as well, and you'll wind up with confidence that you've got a properly built boiler. It's important to understand that it's designed to provide a quality assurance process, not a quality control process. So we don't stand and watch the welder, but we make sure that the person who did the welding has the right certification and qualifications, and to a reasonable extent, the thing looks good. Thirdly, what most of you use is your boiler operational services. You need a boiler test and certificate. You need that for SBA events. Lots of other people want to see certificates, like insurers and marinas and things like that. So our periodic boiler inspection service, which you all know as boiler testing, does exactly that and provides you with certificates appropriate to those requirements. You don't have to use us. You can go and find your own engineer, but we think we offer a good service with people who know a lot about small steamboats at affordable prices. The service is defined in the Boiler Inspector's Scheme booklet, an extensive tome which you can download from the website and explains every last detail of what's required to get and what results in a failure and all those things. If you can't find it, ask me and I'll point a link to you. It explains how you book a test, what happens when you have a test, what the test will actually involve, and it's pretty clear. The important thing you have to recognize is that the SBAS itself does not do the testing. From a legal standpoint, we don't portray ourselves as being a competent individual. What we do is we act as administrators. So you come to us and ask for a test, and we take your booking and assign it to a qualified inspector who is a competent individual under the terms of the Pressure Systems Vessels Regulations. We then assign your job to one of these inspectors. They will perform the inspection, and they are, I can't read, the expert, sorry, and their word is final. And that's important because occasionally we get people unhappy about what the inspectors said or required and says to us, this was unfair, that steam valve was perfectly okay. And we're just not going to have an opinion on that because we're not experts. You hire the inspector, whatever he says is God's truth. Actually, you just can't slide past that. So what you pay for an administration fee, which effectively is just our insurance bills divided by the number of inspections we do each year. You pay a mileage fee for the inspector to come visit you. That's why group tests are a great idea, because if 5 of you can get to the same place, you'll only pay one set of mileage. And you pay an hourly fee for your inspector. And that's why you should clean out the grate before he comes. You should discover if he needs you to take the cladding off or anything else and do it. Because otherwise he's standing there watching you do that stuff with the hourly rate ticking. So one other thing I would say, because it's quite important, and we've seen this sort of stuff, if you're in the process of buying a boiler, whether it's standing alone or in a boat, if you cannot prove and provide documentation of its design, its proof of construction, the proof of materials and everything else, the proof of hydraulic periodic tests, you're probably buying a very expensive piece of scrap. Because if that documentation doesn't exist, there is no way you can ever get that boiler certified, because who knows what the steel was that was put in it. It might not be adequate for the job. Who knows whether or not the design it was built to is appropriate or anything else. So never, ever, ever buy a boiler without certificating documentation. It is possible that if we know the boiler from an older boat and we've tested it in the past, we may have copies of that documentation, but we can't be certain of that. So if you're thinking of buying a second-hand boiler, if you can't get the documentation from the seller, then see if we've got it. And if you can't find it, don't buy it, unless you're a scrap man. Library services, very quickly. SBA holds a library administered by John Maltby. Oh, he's still not here. He's downstairs. You can look at some of the designs. We've got 15 sorts of boiler designs. We've got fire tube boilers, water tube boilers, locomotive boilers, Cochrane type boilers. We've got a library of whole designs, including those of Glyn Lancaster Jones that were bequeathed to the SBAS for Dawn and Diana, and some single sheet proposal drawings, including his lovely paddle steamer. So if you fancy making yourself a river-going paddle steamer, we've got the designs for you. We also hold drawings for a range of machinery and fittings, drawings and for single and twin engines by Phil Moore, and also by John Maltby and Ian Cross. We've also got drawings for the Taylor T2 engine. We've got a selection of patterns for those Crosby Malt cross Maltby engines and the Fillmore engines. We've got patterns for engine, boiler and boat fittings, including clinger gauges and glass bodies and hand pumps and lubricator boxes and stern glands and condenser headers and all that sort of stuff. These we can supply either as iron or bronze castings. All of that's documented on the website. Go and take a look. Or wander downstairs and talk to the lads, because they've got a selection of those patterns down there and some of the drawings, and there's a set of castings there for sale that are surplus for a 12-inch vertical steam pump. So that's your opportunity. So down to the report side of things, our year ends at the end of January, and so we've submitted our final accounts off to the accountants for checking and submission to Companies House and HMRC. We did 59 boiler inspections last year, which was down from 62 the year before, and down from 81 back in 2021, is that? They're going down and down. And the problem with that is that we can only divide our insurance bills by the number of inspections we do. So every year when there are less, it winds up costing more. So we're seeing that sort of slow, continuous decline. However, having said that, we managed to hold the average inspection fee last year to just £3 more than the year previously, so we didn't do badly. We've made one sale from the library last year. Nobody is building anything, and that was a boiler designed to Switzerland. And this year we've only sold one so far, and that's a boiler designed to New Zealand. So come on, Brits, start building stuff. We've got 25 inspectors on the books. We've got applications for 2 more, because there's some parts of the country we've got lots of inspectors and some were really short staffed. So that's where we are. We finished the year with 4,600 in the bank. We made an operating loss of 1,081 last year from a cash accounting perspective, which is how I do adding up. And we did made an operating loss of 1,775 from the way the HMRC does its adding up, because it's accountancy stuff that I don't understand. You can always look at our accounts because they're at Companies House, because we're a company. So you can always go there. Looking forward, we agreed at our AGM last year, not yours, that we would adjust the admin charges to cover the increases in insurance costs. So this year they were up to 125 from 100. So we have managed to trade positively and remain solvent. Looking at the previous years, we're really succeeding pretty well in doing the not-for-profit thing. So last year we lost £1,400, but in the £1,700, but in the previous 2 years we sort of made £1,700. So we're very close to keeping our books straight. And now that we've agreed to adjust the admin fees automatically, that should be easily done. We've got a £1,500 loan from the SBA, which they agreed a while ago to help with COVID. And as Nigel pointed out, 2 of the directors have quite happy to pay any, cover that cost if necessary. That says we also hold guarantees, so no risk to you people. Remember, the more tests we do, the lower costs will be, so get your boilers tested with us. This last year, we had a number of people got all bent out of shape about 10 years testing, and we went off and looked at our own documents and discovered they don't mention 10-year testing at all. It's just not even covered. The idea of 10-year testing comes from the railways world, not from steamboating. So it's not really relevant. What is relevant is the booklet says the inspectors are required to fully examine the boiler. And if he decides, due to its age or whatever else, that the only way he can inspect the foundation ring is by you lifting the boiler up in the air, then you are going to have to lift the boiler up in the air. There's no getting around that. There's no, unless he doesn't feel like it, or unless you buy him a beer, it's like he has to do that. And so you have to be ready for it. So that might require clodding coming off. It might require it taking out. The inspector's decision is always going to be final. You save money by group testing, by being ready, by having your boiler log around. Last year, we put up a system to allow international people to come to the UK and get temporary certificates for boilers. I haven't had any of those yet, but it did happen. Your boiler inspector is your friend. He's the person who's stopping you killing yourself. So don't view him as a hazard. You know, he's an opportunity. Talk to him before you arrange the test. Talk to your boiler inspector. Talk to him if you're changing or repairing anything. He knows a lot about marine steam, and we'll probably be able to advise you on, well, almost anything. There are some issues they're not skilled in, but they're not steam related. So, questions? No, it doesn't seem. So you can get castings like that. For that hand pump you missed, there was the castings for one I made. For boilers, you can make them like this. That's one of the ones Nigel and I made. So they're all downstairs. Thank you very much for your time.
We have sort of overrun somewhat on time. Pardon? I close the meeting at 13:09. 2 o'clock, 5 to 2 back in here so we can get going. Yes, I will do that. Yeah. Right now, welcome to our afternoon, which of course is a more leisurely session, thank goodness. And the first thing that will come is the presentation of trophies by Lord Forsyth, our president. Did you want to say? Yeah.
First thing I want to say is, will you please call me Michael? Not Sir Michael or Lord Forsyth, either are right, but Michael. And the second thing I want to say is a big thank you to Dot and the committee for the brilliant job they do in keeping this organisation running. It's really appreciated. Now, I'm probably one of the very few people in this room who can say I'm not an engineer and I don't understand the technicalities of steamboating and steam engines. But I would want to say a big thank you to the SBA. I don't know how long I've been a member. Actually, if you can't join now because the website isn't working, it's a good job. But certainly it was working when I joined some years ago.
That is fake news. It works perfectly well.
Oh, right. It works perfectly well, so these young people can join up. And one thing that I have learned as a politician the hard way is that if you want to communicate with people now, you absolutely have to be hot on social media. You have to be able to use it. Youngsters, they don't read newspapers. They don't even listen to the news. And my own experience, which is not an engineering experience, but is that with my boat, if I put young people on my boat, they become completely hooked on steam. And, you know, looking at this audience, I feel entirely at home because it's a bit like the House of Lords. And the only difference is that we're less talented than the people here when it comes to steamboats. So plea to the committee and anything I can do to help, let's make a big push to get young people aware of the fantastic job which is being done by this organisation, and also the joy of steam as opposed to the joy of the other thing. And it seems to me that we're well placed to do this. So I know we're behind time, so I'll shut up now. But a big thank you, and a thank you to all these people. Some of you know, an apology. There wasn't a President's Rally this year in Scotland, and that's because after 42 years, we are leaving Scotland to go and move down to Somerset to be with our children, and actually more importantly, our grandchildren. And our children have been saying to me and Susan, you know, you're over 70 now, and you know, you need to make the move quickly, and you need to be close to us so we can look after you. Being a complete mug, we are now getting, are you free on dates in July, August and September to look after the children? And so thank you to all those people who've helped me to think about what I'm going to do with my boat. I'm not going to sell it despite the protestations from my chief executive because I don't want to be parted from this great organization, and I'm very proud to be your president. Thank you very much.
Right, we'll go to, and these are going to come out on the order they run on my list, so there's no preference. First is the presentation of the Montague Trophy. This is the best best launch at an event on tidal and salt water. And are you ready, Gilly? You need somebody else to take the photo. You're getting it. And this was presented this year to Gilly and Kevin Slater, because Sarah Finn won the best of both at the Fowl Rally.
Anybody know how to use these things?
Probably not anymore, Gilly.
No, do you know how to use it? Because I don't.
Let's have a look.
Dot is, give it to Dot.
The dot, okay, Dot's got it. There you go. Give it back to
Is it the green one, the auto? Just before we carry on, I'd like to mention the boxes and everything for these trophies are underneath. So at the end of this afternoon, please collect the boxes and take them away. Don't leave me with boxes. Right, the next award is for the committee trophy, and that's for the boat or persons that most caught the eye of the committee. And this year, it is being given to Ian Bucknell in appreciation for all his work he has done as safety officer, especially his contribution to the updating and monitoring of the risk assessments. The Stuart Turner Trophy for the best engine built by a member has not been awarded this year. The Thames Trophy, award criteria is to be decided by the Thames event organiser, and it's been this year given to Steve Dilly and Steve Bill from Stanley and Thomas Boat Builders Limited at Windsor, but unfortunately they're not here. The Family Trophy for all the family partition, especially involving the young. Well, it's not all of the family partition who's got this, but it certainly involves the young, and it's to Daniel and Heidi. Daniel Hutchinson and Heidi. The Jeff Newton Memorial Trophy has not been awarded this year. The Alec Richard Memorial for the best contribution to social media, formerly for engineering excellence, but not necessarily event-based. And this year it goes to Clive Lee for all his posts on Facebook and his informative answers to other people's questions. Where is it? Pardon? Oh, right. You never saw me, I'd have stopped him. Oh, dear. Yeah. Whoops. The Full and Mouth piece They're awarded by the editor to any funnel contribution, and this year it has been awarded to Mark Riddell. Next trophy is the Martino Trophy for the boat steamed for the furthest to join an SBA event. And this is to Alan Davis, who steamed Quetzal from Puffing Away in Guildford to the Thames Trad. And the Mermaid Cup for West Country events only, no other criteria, and it is awarded by the local event organisers at actual events. And this year it has gone to Ian Richard with Imsenbard. I haven't got any criteria, but I do know at the Fowl Rally, he was roaming around Fowl Harbour with his daughter dressed up as a pirate with a gun on the front. And I think that's the reason why they ordered it. He's not here today. There are three other trophies. There's the Windermere Trophy, there's Pod's Pot, and the Windermere Kettle. These are awarded at the Windermere Rally itself, and they're specific to that. Last year, the Windermere Trophy and the Windermere Kettle were not awarded, but Pod's Pot was awarded to, I've forgotten his name. No, down. Yeah. Mosquito. Yeah. What was his name? Martin Blackburn. To Martin Blackburn for Mosquito. All right. That. Yes. Oh, no, we're not all done. With the last one now, which is the George Watkins Memorial Trophy. Awarded by the Heritage Steamboat Trust for any historical work involving the history of steamboat engineering and the continued use of historic steamboats and launches and the preservation and use of the steamboat machinery. And this year it has been awarded to the Steam Tug Cairn Preservation Society. Because can I have all the original owner members? These group of gentlemen, I don't know how many years ago they bought it. How many years ago was it? In 1971, they purchased it as a wreck, and it is now up and running, and you will hear all about it later today. And these are 4 of the original gentlemen. Alan, the one to the right of our president, being the chairman of it. Yeah. Right. Right. Thank you, and that concludes the awards. Now we've got the awards for the photo competition. So have we got John Wynne and Joe, who is going to come. Can they have a mic, please? Yeah, you need it. Unless you want to stand there. You'll use that one. All right.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Just to be very clear, I'm here under false pretenses. The tradition is that whoever wins the trophy, whoever won the trophy last year, gets to be the lead judge this year. Well, I didn't take the photograph last year. What I did, I handed one over on behalf of an American steamboating colleague. And then in their wisdom, the committee said, well, you'll have to do the judging. Now, I'm probably not the best qualified to judge photographs, but I do have someone beside me who is. So together, we've come to our conclusions. Now, the first thing I will say is that I've always worked on the theory that rules are made to be broken. That's a fact of life. And I broke the rule straight away with a photograph. The rule said it had to have a steamboat in it. Well, steamboat related, but even then, you'd think there'd be a picture of a boat somewhere, I don't know, but there isn't. What it is, it's a photograph taken by somebody who you'll all know of his daughter opening the paddle on a lock. And I think it epitomizes everything about, sorry? No, it's a reflection. That's a reflection. That's your eyesight. So I think that this is worthy of a prize. We'll put it back up somewhere so you can see it at your leisure. But that's whoever took the photograph, that's his daughter. I was going to tell you that. And whoever took the photograph, that's his daughter, and that's the future of our steamboating. So, Daniel, you've won 4th prize. Oh. Now, the 3rd prize, we did it over. We're normally pretty decisive, but on this one, we did it because there was 2 to choose from, and we picked a particular photograph, and it shows somebody head down, arse up, getting the weed off the propeller. And the photograph itself is pin sharp, and the reflection, the only thing we're not sure about is, did he take his glasses off or have they fallen in the water? So it's with a tremendous applause that this prize goes to none other than Dr.
Thank you. Thank you, John. It's always hard to follow anything that John says. Right, the second prize, this was, John and I were in agreement with this. It's the ideal photograph, what every spouse thinks of steamboating. It's the epitome. Beautiful weather, lovely setting, no rain, picnic, tranquil, never happens. But then, and this photograph was taken by Nigel Cooper. I don't know who handed it in, though. Nope. Really sorry about that. Did somebody brought this today and handed it in? Oh, there we go. Alan. There we are, Alan. So if I hand this over. Alan, would you be able to collect it for him?
It was in the funnel.
Yeah. And the last photograph, which we both thought was excellent, is what steamboating is all about. helping each other, helping out, pulling together. Good weather, good camaraderie, and it was taken by Marguerite. And it's a lovely photograph. Yeah.